For learning Java, सब्सक्राइब दिस चैनल। जावा सीखने के लिए इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए।
Today's topic name is Rules of Variable Declaration in Java. So, as you know, variable declaration rules helps the programmers in creating valid and meaningful variable names, and these rules are defined by Java, and every programmer must follow them while declaring variables. And if these rules are not followed, then that time the program will produce compilation errors. So now let's see these rules. First rule is a variable name must start with a letter, underscore, like this, or dollar sign. So we can say that a variable name must begin with an alphabet or an underscore or a dollar sign, and it cannot begin with a digit. Apart from that, this rule helps the compiler to identify the valid variable names. Like in this example, we can see that in here, int age equals to 20 is valid. Int underscore count equals to 10 is valid. Same, int dollar price equals to 50 is valid. But when we write int 1 num means number equals to 5, that will be wrong or invalid, and that time compiler generates an error. So we can say that variable names start with numbers can generate errors. Now let's let's move to next rule. So next rule is a variable name cannot start with a number. Numbers can be used inside a variable, but they cannot appear as the first character digits, as digits are allowed only after the first character. Let's let's see this rule example. So, as we know, digits are only allowed after the first character. In this example, int student1 equals to 50 is a valid example, or, or a valid code, and int marks 2026 equals to 90 is also a valid code. But if we write int1 student equals to 50, that will be invalid, and there will be an error. So now let's move to next rule. Next rule is a variable name cannot contain spaces, and we can say that a variable name must be written as a single word, and in this spaces are not allowed because the compiler treats spaces as separators between different words, like this. In this example, if we write int total marks equals to 75, that will be right. But if we write int total mark and give a space between them, in between total and marks, then that time there will be an error. Same happen with this code, like this string student, and if there is a space between the student and name, that time also a error occurred. So we can say that to improve the reliability, reliability, programmers use camel case, like this. You should write your code in this manner and don't do this kind of mistakes while declaring variables. So Next rule is that special characters are allowed except, I'm sorry, special characters are not allowed except underscore and dollar sign. So we can say that most special characters cannot be used in variable names such as at the rate, hash, percent, this symbol, mul- and this also. They are not permitted. Apart from that, we can say that only underscore and dollar sign can be used here. Let's see its example. So in this example, we can say int user age equals to 19 is correct because here we used underscore, and this also valid because here we use the symbol dollar. But if we use this symbol or this symbol at the rate, then that time there will be an error or that will be invalid. Now next rule is Java keywords cannot be used as variable names. These keywords are reserved words that have defined meanings in the language. Therefore, they cannot be used as the variable names. And if we talk about what kind of keywords we are talking about, so they are int, class, if, while, for, return, static, public, etc. I think you know all those keywords now. So I think I don't need to explain this here. We can write int numbers equals to 10, but we can't write int class equals to 20 because compiler will generate an error because class already has a special meaning in Java. Next rule is variable names are case sensitive, and we can say that Java treats uppercase and lowercase letters differently. That's why variables with the different letters cases are considered different variables. For example, if we write int age equals to 20 in lowercase, then that time it will be considered different. And same time, if we write a in capital and then ge equals to 30, that will be also differently considered, means it will also considered as a different variable. And same happened with this. So if we print those variables, then that time we will get this output. And there is a there is one thing you should know. Programmers should use the consistent naming conventions to avoid confusions. Just remember that. I will explain it in another video sometime. So let's move to another rule. So next rule is every variable must have a data type. In this, we should know a variable cannot be declared without specifying its data type. And the data type, as you know, tells the compiler what kind of value we that variable can store. For example, int age equals to 20, double salary equals to 45,000 dot 50. Here we can add any integer value, and there we can add any value in decimal. Apart from that, here we can store a character. Same here in string we can store a text. So if we don't add a data type, then that time compiler can't determine what kind of value we are storing. Same like this. If we just write age equals 20, then that time there will be an error. So next rule is variable names should be meaningful, which means